let us look at the step response of critically damped systems. The generic form of the transfer function of a second order system is C of s divided by R of s is equals to omega n square divided by s square plus 2 zeta omega n of s plus omega n square. Now, in order to find the step response, we need to apply the step input, which is R of s. So, after applying the step input, we can represent this generic form of second order system as C of s is equals to omega n square divided by s into s square plus 2 zeta omega n of s plus omega n square. So here we have actually moved R of s to the right hand side and replaced R of s with 1 upon s, which is the Laplace transform of a unit step signal. For critically damped system, we know that zeta is equals to 1. So putting zeta is equals to 1 in this equation, we can rewrite this equation as C of s is equals to omega n square divided by s bracket s plus omega n whole square. So we can actually represent this equation in this form by putting zeta is equals to 1. In the next step, we will be solving this equation through partial fraction expansion. The partial fraction expansion of this equation can be given as omega n square divided by s bracket s plus omega n whole square is equals to a upon s plus b divided by s plus omega n plus c divided by s plus omega n whole square. So we have expanded this equation into its partial fraction form. After that, we need to find out the values of a, b and c, which we can easily find out by comparing the right hand side with the left hand side. So by doing this, we have found a is equals to 1, b is equals to minus 1 and c is equals to minus omega n. You can solve this by yourselves to find out these values of a, b and c. Now putting the values of a, b and c, we can write this equation as 1 upon s minus 1 upon s plus omega of n minus omega n divided by s plus omega n whole square. Now to find the step response, we need to take the inverse Laplace transform of this equation. After applying inverse Laplace transform, the step response is found as 1 minus e raised to the power minus omega n into t minus omega n into t e raised to the power minus omega n of t. So the inverse Laplace transform of 1 upon s is u of t. Since the value of u of t, which is our unit step signal, is always 1, so instead of writing unit step signal, we are writing 1 here. We have already find out the value of 1 upon s plus omega of n in our previous lectures, so we can use that to come up with the inverse Laplace transform of this term as e raised to the power minus omega n of t. Now, in this part, we have the square of the denominator. For that, we can use the derivative property of the Laplace transform. And after applying the derivative property of the Laplace transform, we can find the inverse Laplace transform as minus omega n of t in multiplied by e raised to the power minus omega n of t. Simply taking sum of the things common from this equation, we can rewrite this equation like this. So this is the final form of the step response of a critically damped system. Now let us look at the time domain response of the second order system. This is the step response of an underdamped system. We'll be interested in what is going to happen with the step response if we put the value of zeta and omega n in this equation. So let us assume zeta is equals to 0.1 and omega n is equals to 3 radian per second. So by putting the value of zeta and omega n in this equation, the step response is plotted here. As you can see, there are lots of oscillations in the step response. This is because our zeta is 0.1 and the system is underdamped. So next we'll be increasing the value of zeta to see what is going to happen with the step response. In the next step, we have changed the value of zeta to 0.5, although we are using the same natural frequency of 3 radians per second. Now here you can see that the oscillations has been reduced and the step response is settling to the final value, which is 1. So if we further increase the value of zeta, then you will see that these oscillations will further reduce. So increasing the value of zeta to 0.9, we can see that the oscillation have almost vanished, although there are some oscillations, but they are so small that we cannot see them here. This is the response of a high pass filter. So increasing the value of zeta will reduce oscillations. This is another graph where we are comparing what happens to the system step response with changing zeta or damping ratio values. Now these B, the B given here, this actually is representing the zeta. So in case you choose zeta to be 0, we'll be getting the pure sine wave type of response for our system. And as we increase the value of zeta with a step size of 2 or greater than 2, we'll see the oscillation will start decreasing and we'll get this type of response. So from this graph, you can easily judge what happens when you increase the value of zeta. Here we have fixed the value of zeta, but simply changing the natural frequency omega of n. So omega of n is simply making the system oscillations more, or it reduces the oscillations in the system. Let us find out the time domain specifications of a second order system. In a second order system step response, we can find lots of things from the graph. The first thing that we can find out from the second order system step response is its rise time. The rise time can be found as T of R. This is your rise time, which is equals to pi minus theta divided by omega of d. Now omega of d is the damping frequency, which is equals to omega n under root 1 minus zeta square. The next thing that we can find out is the peak time. So Tp is your peak time, which can be found as pi divided by omega of d. So replacing omega of d with its value, we can also find the peak time as pi divided by omega n under root 1 minus zeta square. The next is the settling time, 2% settling time. We can find the 2% settling time for the step response of a second order system as T of S is equals to 4t, or it is also equals to 4 upon 4 divided by zeta omega of n. Here t is the time constant, which is equals to 1 divided by zeta omega n. The 5% settling time can be found as T of S is equals to 3 multiplied with the time constant. So the 5% settling time can be found as 3 divided by zeta omega n. The next is the maximum overshoot, which can be found as MP, which represents the maximum overshoot value. This is equals to e raised to the power minus I zeta divided by under root 1 minus zeta square, and is multiplied with 100 to convert it into percentage. So if it is asked from you to find these time domain specification from the step response, so by using these formulas you can find the rise time, peak time, 2% settling time, 5% settling time, and the maximum overshoot from the step response of a second order system. Let us solve one example of a second order system. The statement of the example is: consider the system shown in the figure below. The damping ratio is 0.6 and the natural undamped frequency is 5 radians per second. You need to find the rise time Tr, peak time Tp, maximum overshoot MP, and the settling time for 2% and 5% criterion when the system is subjected to a unit step input. So this is the generic block diagram of a second order system. Let us first write down the formulas for rise time, peak time, 2% settling time, 4% settling time, and maximum overshoot. Okay. So we know the values of zeta and omega n. So first of all, let us find out the rise time, which is equals to pi minus theta divided by omega d. We know that omega d is equals to omega n under root 1 minus zeta square. So in this equation of rise time, we already know the value of pi, which is equals to 3.141. Omega n is already given in the question statement, and zeta is also given. The only thing which we does not know is theta. So to find out the value of theta, we first need to draw the S-plane graph. We have already discussed about the S-plane graph, which represents lots of things. Here the distance from the origin to this point is omega d, which is equals to omega n under root 1 minus zeta square. Similarly, the distance from the origin to this negative real term, which is represented by minus sigma, is equals to zeta omega n. And we already discussed that theta is equals to zeta is equals to cos of theta, which is given here. So just by doing simple transformations, that is theta is equals to cos inverse zeta, we can find out theta. In this case, we put the value of zeta here and found theta equals to 0.93 radians. So in the next step, we'll put the value of theta in this equation and found the value of rise time equals to 0.55 seconds. Next is the peak time. Peak time is simply equals to pi divided by omega of d. So by putting the value of pi and omega d, we can simply find out t of p, or the peak time, which is equals to 0.785 seconds. You need to keep this in your mind that omega of d is equals to omega n under root 1 minus zeta square, and the value of this term is found to be 4, which we have inserted here. 2% settling time is equals to 4 divided by zeta into omega of n. So by putting the value of zeta and omega of n, we found the 2% settling time equals to 1.33 seconds. Here zeta is 0.6 and omega n is 5, which is already given in the question statement. Next, we need to find out the 5% settling time. Sorry, this is not 4%, this is 5% settling time. You can note down that this is not 4%, this is 5% settling time. So the 5% settling time can be given as 3 divided by zeta into omega of n. So by simply putting the value of zeta and omega n into this equation, we can find the 5% settling time, which is equals to 1 second. The last thing which is left is the maximum overshoot. We know that the maximum overshoot is equals to e raised to the power minus pi zeta divided by under root 1 minus zeta square. So putting the value of zeta in this equation, we found maximum overshoot equals to 0.095, which in terms of percentage is 9.5%. So the maximum value of the system will be greater than 9.5% of the final value. Let us plot all of these terms in the system response graph. So if this is the step response of your underdamped system, then the rise time is somewhere here. Let us see what is our rise time. We found the rise time, so equals to 0.55 seconds. So this is our rise time, which we have marked down here. At this point, our system has its final value. Then the next is the maximum overshoot. This is our peak time, which is somewhere around 0.7. At this point, the final value is equals to 1.095. You can also mark down 2% and 5% settling time in this graph. Let us solve another example related to the time domain specifications of a second order system step response. For the system shown in figure A, which is this, determine the values of gain K and velocity feedback constant K of h so that the maximum overshoot in the unit step response is 0.2 and the peak time is 1 second. With these values of K and KH, obtain the rise time and the settling time. Assume that J is equals to 1 and B is equals to 1. So in this example, maximum overshoot is given to us and the peak time is also given to us. The next thing is J and B values, they are also given to us. So by using these four parameters, we need to find the rise time and the settling time and the values of KH and K. So first, we'll actually reduce this block diagram. So by solving for the transfer function of this part, we can represent this as this, which is K divided by S bracket Js plus B plus K into KH. This is a unity feedback system. And we need to convert this into its final transfer function form, which is given here. So this is the transfer function of the overall system, which is C of S divided by R of S is equals to K divided by GS square plus bracket B plus K into KH of S plus K. So this is the transfer function of the given system. We'll be using this transfer function to find out the values of K and KH. J and B, they are already given to us. So simply putting the values of J and B into this equation, we can rewrite this transfer function as this. Comparing this equation with the transfer function of a second order system generic form, we can find omega n equals to under root k and zeta is equals to 1 plus k into kh divided by 2 under root k. So comparing this and this equation, 2 zeta omega n will be equals to this part and omega n square will be equals to k, and simply by doing some calculations we found omega n equals to under root k and zeta is equals to this value. It is already given to us in the question statement that maximum overshoot is 0.2. So we'll use this maximum overshoot value to find zeta. We know that the maximum overshoot equation is e raised to the power minus zeta divided by under root 1 minus zeta square into pi. Here, if we put the value of MP, we can find zeta. Here, MP is equals to 0.2. Okay. In the next step, we'll simply be taking the natural logarithm of the left hand side and the right hand side. After taking the natural logarithm, the natural log will be cancelled out by e and the natural log of 0.2 is 1.61. So simply by doing some more calculations, we can find the value of zeta from this equation, and here zeta is found as 0.456. Next, we'll find out omega of n. For that, we'll be using the peak time, which is already given to us as 1 second. We know that the peak time is equals to pi upon omega d, where omega d is equals to omega n under root 1 minus zeta square. We have already find the value of zeta, which is 0.456. So by putting the value of zeta in this equation, we can easily find out omega of n, which is 3.53. So by using the already given parameter values, we have found zeta and omega of n. By using these two values, that is zeta and omega n, we need to find out k, and we know that omega n is equals to under root k, where omega n is equals to 3.96. By putting the value of omega n is equals to 3.96 in this equation, we can find out k, which is equals to 12.5. Next, we need to find out the value of kh. We know that zeta is equals to 1 plus k into kh divided by 2 under root k, where zeta is equals to 0.456. K is found as 12.5. So by putting the value of zeta and k in this equation, we can find out kh from here, which is found as 0.178. Next, we'll find out the rise time, settling time by using the values of zeta and omega of n. The rise time is equals to pi minus theta divided by omega n under root 1 minus zeta square. Putting the value of zeta and omega n in this equation, we found rise time equals to 0.65 seconds. The theta can be found from the equation cos of zeta is equals to cos of theta. The settling time is equals to 4 divided by zeta omega n, which is found as 2.48 seconds. This is the 2% settling time. The 5% settling time is equals to 1.86 seconds. Let us solve another example related to the time domain parameters of a second order system step response. The statement of the question is, when the system shown in figure below is subjected to a unit step input, the system output responds as shown in figure B, which is given here. Determine the values of A and C from the response curve. So, this question is your homework. You need to find out the values of A and C by using figure A and figure B. Here, some of the things are already given, which are the MP value is 0.254. The peak time is 3 and the final value is 1. So in order to solve this question, you first have to find out zeta and omega n, and by putting the values of zeta n in the final transfer function form of this block diagram, you can find out A and C. Another question is given here. In this question, you need to find out the values of J and D, which gives 20% overshoot for this system having a settling time of 2 seconds in case of the step response. Now, the transfer function of this second order system is given here, which is equals to G of S equals to 1 divided by J overall divided by S square plus D upon J of S plus K upon J. Now the value of K is given as 5 Newton meters per radian. If we compare this second order system equation with the generic form of a second order system transfer function, we can find omega n is equals to under root k upon j. You can do some calculations to verify that whether omega n is equals to this or not. We know that the settling time, 2% settling time equals to 2 seconds, which is further equals to 4 upon zeta omega n. Similarly, by comparing this equation, so simply doing some transformation, we can put 2 zeta omega n equals to 4. And from this, zeta is found as 4 divided by 2 omega n, where omega n is equals to under root k upon j. So we can replace omega n with this under root k upon j to find zeta equals to 2 under root j upon k. So omega n is equals to under root k upon j and zeta is equals to 2 under root j upon k. The reason for doing this work is to simply represent omega n and zeta in terms of k and j. Using 20% overshoot values, we found zeta equals to 0.456, and for that we used this maximum overshoot equation, which is mp is equals to e raised to the power minus zeta divided by under root 1 minus zeta square into pi, where mp is 0.2. By putting mp by putting mp 0.2 in this equation, you can find out zeta, which is found as 0.456. So in this equation, we can simply replace zeta with 0.456 and j of k equals to 0.052. Since the value of k is already given in the question statement, which is equals to 5 Newton meters per radian, so by putting the value of k in this equation, we can find j, which is equals to 0.26. Next, we need to find out d. From the system transfer function, we found 2 zeta omega n is equals to d divided by j. We know the value of zeta, omega n and j. So by putting the values of zeta, omega n and j in this equation, we found d equals to 1.04. Here is another example that you have to solve by yourself. In this question, you need to find the natural frequency omega n, damping ratio zeta, peak time, settling time, rise time, and the percent overshoot. You also have to find the analytical expression for the output response to a unit step input, which means that you need to apply the unit step signal on this system transfer function to find out theta of t. There are some more questions given here which are very simple. Here you simply need to find zeta and omega n, and based on the value of zeta you need to identify whether these systems are overdamped, critically damped, or underdamped. Some more examples related to example 7 are given here, where you simply have to find out the type of the system, whether they are overdamped, underdamped, or critically damped.
Let us solve another example. The transfer function of a second order system is given here. The transfer function is h of s is equals to 100 divided by s square plus 15s plus 100. We need to find out what is the peak time in case of the step response of your system. Then what is rise time, what is settling time, and what is maximum overshoot. In solution, what we will be doing, first we will be comparing this transfer function with the generic form of second order system. The generic form is omega n square divided by s square plus 2 zeta omega n of s plus omega n square. So, if we compare this transfer function with the generic form of second order system, we can find out that omega n square is equals to 100, and from this we can find omega n is equals to 10 radians per second. Similarly, if we compare this 15 of s with this 2 zeta omega n of s, we can say 2 zeta omega n is equals to 15. We already know the value of omega n, so we can put omega n is equals to 10 here, and from here we can find zeta, which is equals to 0.75. Next, we'll find out the rise time. We know that rise time is equals to pi minus theta divided by omega n under root 1 minus zeta square. But here theta is unknown quantity. Although we know the values of omega n and zeta, but we don't know the value of theta. We can easily find out if we use the relationship cos of theta is equals to zeta. Zeta is equals to 0.75. So simply by putting zeta is equals to 7 or 0.75 here, we can find theta is equals to 41.4 degree. You need to keep this thing in your mind that before putting the value of theta in this equation, you need to convert this 41.4 degrees into radians. So this is your homework. What you have to do, you have to convert this theta value into radians and put this value into this equation and then come up with the final value of rise time. The next thing that I am giving you as a homework is to find out Tp, which is equals to pi upon omega n under root 1 minus zeta square. Then you also have to find out MP, which is equals to e raised to the power minus pi zeta upon under root 1 minus zeta square. So you have to find out TP, MP, and then the settling time, which is equals to 4 upon zeta omega n, okay, and 3 upon zeta omega n. So you need to find out these four quantities. One is Tp, then Mp, then 2% settling time and 5% settling time. So you already have the values of omega n and zeta here to find out peak time, maximum overshoot, 2% settling time and 5% settling time. You simply have to put the values of zeta and omega n wherever required, and you can simply come up with the values of peak time, maximum overshoot, 2% settling time and 5% settling time. You can solve this by yourself. Here we have another problem. In this problem, we are only given with the S-plane graph of a second order system. Here, the distance from the origin to this point is J7, and the distance from the origin to this point is minus J7. Similarly, the distance from the origin to this point is minus 3. The location of the poles are here and here. Now, from the location of the poles, we can say this is an underdamped system. What we have to find out in this problem is zeta, omega n, Tp, maximum overshoot, and the settling time. So we have to find these quantities just by using this S-plane graph. We know that from the previous lectures that the distance from the origin to this point is omega of n. This is our base, this is our perpendicular, and this is our hypotenuse, which is represented by omega of n. Now what we can do, we can simply use some trigonometric quantities. We know that tan of theta is equals to perpendicular upon base. Here the perpendicular is 7 and base is 3. So by putting the values of perpendicular and base, we can find out theta. So by using the value of perpendicular and base, we found theta is equals to 66.7 degrees. The next thing is to find the value of zeta. We know that zeta is equals to cos of theta. So using theta is equals to 66.7 degrees, we find zeta is equals to 0.394. Next, we need to find out the value of omega n. We'll use the same definition of hypotenuse, perpendicular and base. We know that hypotenuse square is equals to base square plus perpendicular square. Here hypotenuse is omega n. So omega n square will be equals to 3 square plus 7 square. So taking the under root of these two terms, we found omega n is equals to 7.61 radians per second. So using some trigonometric definitions, we have found the value of zeta and omega n. Now the rest of the things are quite easy to estimate from the values of zeta and omega n. We know that Tp is equals to omega n under root 1 minus zeta square, where zeta is equals to 0.394 and omega n is equals to 7.61. So by putting the value of omega n and zeta here, so after solving this equation, we come up with the value of peak time, which is equals to 0.5 seconds. Next, we need to find out maximum overshoot MP. MP is equals to e raised to the power minus pi zeta whole divided by under root 1 minus zeta square. So by putting the value of zeta here, we can calculate maximum overshoot from this equation. The maximum overshoot in our case is 0.26 or 26%. The next thing is settling time. 4 upon zeta omega n. 4 upon 0.394 multiplied by 7.61. So after solving this equation, the 2% settling time is found as 1.33 seconds. Okay. I'm giving you some homework. In the next part, you need to find out what is 5% settling time and what is the rise time for this underdamped system. And you also have to draw the step response of this system along with mentioning these parameters. Let us say, for example, this is the step response of this system. What you have to do, you have to actually mention the peak time here, the peak value. No, this is the peak value, AP. Then you have to mention the MP, which is the distance from here to here. Then you also have to mention the TR, which is rise time, and the settling time 2% and 5%. So that is your homework. Let us solve another example related to finding out the time domain parameters of a second order system. You have this block diagram of a second order system and you have to find out certain parameters such as a rise time, peak time, maximum overshoot and settling time of this second order system. First of all, let us assume that this is our feed forward transfer function which we are representing by G of S. Then assume this is our feedback transfer function which we are representing by H of S. So G of S is equals to 24 divided by S into S plus 1 into 0.2S plus 1, where H of S is equals to S divided by 6. Now, using the block diagram reduction techniques to find out the overall transfer function C of S upon R of S, you can use G of S divided by 1 plus H of S into G of S, because here you have a negative, this is a negative feedback system. So after putting the equations of G of S and H of S into this equation, we come up with the final form of transfer function for this block diagram, which is 120 divided by S into S square plus 6S plus 25. So what you can do, you can simply put the values of G of S and H of S here to verify whether you are coming up with this equation or not. The next thing is to find zeta and omega n. Now here you have to do some little bit more work. First of all, you can identify the characteristic equation. We have discussed this lots of time when solving block diagrams, that this is your characteristic equation, and if you want to find out the poles of a system, you need to put your characteristic equation to 0. So by putting these characteristic equations equals to 0, we can further reduce it down to this equation, that is S square plus 6S plus 25 is equals to 0. Now we can use this equation to find the values of zeta and omega n. We know that the characteristic equation of a generic second order system is S square plus 2 zeta omega n of s plus omega n square. The generic second order system transfer function is C of s upon R of s is equals to omega n square divided by s square plus 2 zeta omega n of s plus omega n square. So we are simply using this characteristic equation of a second order system. So comparing this equation with this equation, we can say 2 zeta omega n is equal to 6 and omega n square is equals to 25. Now, from these two equations, you can find omega n and zeta. Once you have the values of omega n and zeta, then in the next steps, this is your task. You have to find out certain parameters, and those parameters are Tp, which is your peak time, then Tr, which is the rise time, then Mp, which is the maximum overshoot, and then you also have to find sigma d, which is your damping factor, and omega d, which is your damping frequency.